All right, Negaim Parak Tet Mishnah Gimel. Third and last Mishnah in the very short 9th chapter of Masechet Negaim. Guess they didn't have a lot to say about Shchin or Michya. Says the Mishnah, Shalut Rabbi Eliezer. They asked Rabbi Eliezer, Misha alta letochi ado beheret kesela. A person has in letochi ado, it's in the palm of his hands. Okay, he says letochi ado is the kaf yado. Kaf yado, the Katan says in the palm of his hands. A beheret the size of a sela. It's pretty large. Okay, umekomat tzarevet shchin. Its place is this tzarevet shchin. Let me just remind you, we learned in the last Mishnah this idea of tzarevet shchin, that it was this tzarevet shchin. It was this sort of beginning to heal shchin, but it still is a din, is a status of boil. Okay, but it's the size of a sela. Umekomat tzarevet shchin. So the whole thing is the size of the coin, and the whole boil is the size of a coin, and the whole boil turns tzara'at. So what is the din? What is the status? Amar lehem yasgir. He says, okay, you have to go into quarantine. Okay, so Amrullah, they said to Rabbi Eliezer, Lama, why? Why should you quarantine him? What is the possibility? Legadel seyar lavan eino reuya. It's never going to grow any hair. Why? Because it's on the palm. You don't have any hair on the palm of your hand, so it'll never grow any hair. Ulipisione naposa. It can never spread. Ulemichya eina mitama. Okay, because it's only, remember, it has only two simanim. It cannot develop michya. Michya doesn't apply to shchin. And so the other two simanim are white hairs. It'll never grow hair because it's the palm of the hand. Okay, and it won't spread because the whole idea is, let's just give an example. So here's the shchin. Just imagine it's the size of the sela. Okay, we'll move our label. And the shchin is the size of the sela, and it covers, and it's on your palm of your hand. And the boil and the tzara'at is covering the whole thing. It can't spread. We'll assume that it doesn't have the rounded corner. It literally can't spread anymore. There's no place for it to go. Remember, and we learned, if it goes out into the flesh, it doesn't count. So the only spread that counts are spread in the boil. So nothing technically can happen. There's no hair. It's in the palm of the hand. There's no michya. Michya doesn't count in shchin. So why in the world would you quarantine the guy when nothing possible could happen? Amar lehem. So he says, okay, good point. But shema tichnos v'tifseh. Maybe it will get smaller, because remember, it's the size of a sela, and then get larger again. And if that happens, then the guy's up the creek. He could be tamei, so that's why you would quarantine him. Amrulo. They said, oh, okay, good. But v'halom mekumak grease. What happens? What that means, v'halom mekumak grease, they mean, what happens if the whole size of the boil is only the size of a grease and it fills it? So in that case, then what would you do? Amar lehem lo shamati. He says, I don't know. Amar lo Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera, said Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera, Allah made bo. Meaning, Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera said, can I say something? Meaning, will you give me permission? He asked Rabbi Eliezer, will you give me permission to say my piece? Amar lo. So he says, Im lekayem divrei chachamim hein. Rabbi Eliezer said, listen, I know that you have to be yasgir. I have a Masorah tradition to be yasgir. But now they ask me a question. Why should I be masgir if the size is only the size of a grease? So if you're going to fulfill the words of the chachamim, go for it. Amar lo, he said to him, he says, yes, if the whole thing is the size of only the size of a grease, maybe more boils will develop, and then it will spread to that boil. Let's just for our example here, right? Maybe in this case, if it's the size of a grease, here's the size of a grease, and the boil itself is the size of a grease, but maybe he says maybe the boil will spread. And then the nega itself will spread, and then it's a siman of tum'ah. Oh, so therefore, Amar lo, said Rabbi Eliezer, Chacham gadolata shekiyamta divrei chachamim. You are a great chacham because you have upheld the words of the chachamim, and now I understand. Now we know why the chachamim taught Yaskir that this person should go into quarantine. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.